helical gas. So this will be completing in two different lecturing videos. So today we shall start about design procedure of helical gas and some few problems based on the design of helical gas. Design procedure of helical gas will remain the same as that of spur gas. Okay. The minor changes will be only the module where it is replaced with a normal module. Okay. And the calculations further will be done based on the normal module. Okay. This is one of the parameter that will be changed with respect to helical gas. Next one, Lewis form factor, that is Y. Okay, you will be having with respect to 14 and a half, 20-degree full depth and 20-degree stub. So there, the Lewis form factor Y will be considering the factor of number of teeth, their Z in spur gas and ZE in helical gas. Okay, there is a minor changes in that. Only these are the two major changes that will be changed in the design procedure. The rest all the procedure remains the same as that of spur gas. Okay, you can see a helical gas are just the main difference between spur gas and helical gas, or it will be having an angle. The teeth will be at an angle of beta with respect to the shaft axis. That is helix angle. We call it as beta as helix angle. Okay. This is just a basic differentiation to understand what exactly spur gas and helical gas are. Where in helical gas, the impact load will be gradually applying on the pinion gear. Okay, but in spur gas, it will be a sudden impact between the two teeth. Okay, hence it is very noisy in spur gas. Most of the high-speed RPM gear drives will be considering helical gas for their operation. Okay. So we shall start solving the design problems. Okay. Uh, Based on so many queries to correlate with respect to data handbook, I have just added a data handbook. Okay. With respect to the problems, the I cannot add all the pages at a single slide, so I am just adding the side by of each problem. Okay. You can look it out into the pages where the number of where you can see the formulas and you can solve here itself. Okay guys, okay, let's see how to solve the problem. Helical gas are to transmit 15 kilowatt power he has given. The teeth are 20-degree stub, so he has given the profile in diameter plane and have a helix angle he has given as a beta. The pinion runs at 10,000 rpm n and has 80 mm pitch diameter. Okay, that is he has given the pitch diameter of the pinion, that is d1. Now the gear has a pitch diameter of 320. Okay, d2. If the gears are made of cast steel having allowable static strength 1000 megapascals, okay, he has given the allowable static strength. Consider and check the gears for wear face width module. Okay, so he has given the endurance strength as 618 megapascal, which will be used in further calculations. Okay, let's see how to solve it. Now initial step, we need to find the unknown values. Okay, we know the speed of the pinion, so just we need to find the velocity ratio where the two diameters are known. Okay, if you substitute, you will get the velocity ratio 4. Okay, now the initial step where further calculations can be done based on identifying the weaker part, that is pinion or gear. Okay, so the which factor defines whether which part is weaker or not, that is strength factor, that is sigma d into y, where it is similar to that of spur gas since both of same material. Okay, hence we will be considering pinion is weaker. Okay, so here is not given, is not mentioned any of number of teeth either on the pinion or on the gear, so hence we shall assume total number of teeth on the gear will be 20. Sorry, pinion, it will be a 20. Okay, we know the velocity ratio, that is 4. If you multiply, the number of teeth on the gear will be 80. Okay, z1 is 20, z2 is 80. We just assume is the 20 as a standard width and number of teeth on the pinion. Next one, as I told you, in helical gas we have to replace z with ze. What does z represents? It is a virtual number of teeth. It is just nothing but is the plane which is similar to spur gears, okay, the number of teeth will be counted. So here helix angle is been mentioned, hence we have to take this formula from the data handbook page number 211. Okay, there you can calculate the value of ZE with respect to two teeth, that is with respect to two gears, either gear and a pinion, both we need to calculate. That is, if you want to calculate ZD1, substitute the value of Z1, and if you want to calculate ZD2, substitute the value of ZD2. Okay, both both the gears we need to calculate virtual number of teeth. Okay, if you substitute 20 and beta he has given, so 57 teeth is a virtual number of teeth. Okay, so this is done. Next it will be, and this is a formula which we will be getting from page number 211, that is here you can take this formula. Okay, see the virtual number of teeth in the equivalent spur gear, or the formative number of teeth on the helical gears, that is Z is equals to Z divided by cos cube beta. So this is the formula we need to consider to find the virtual number of teeth. Now first one is to find the module. This you have in two different formats, that is diameter, if diameter is known. Okay, if diameter is known, if diameter is known, this is the formula you have to consider. This is available in the data handbook page number 214. Okay, so let's start to find the unknown values from this formula. First we need to find the velocity to calculate velocity factor. Velocity is equals to pi dn by 60, where d1 n1 represents the pinion parameters, because design is based on pinion. Okay, if you substitute the values in meters, you will be getting velocity value. To check this velocity value, if you go to page number 214, see, hence the velocity is greater than 20. If you check d1, okay, in velocity factor, if it is greater than 20, so this is the formula which you have used. So velocity is substituted, so you will be getting velocity factor. Okay, done. So next is tangential tooth load. We need to find ft value. This will be getting from data handbook page number 205, where power he has given, velocity is calculated. CS we need to be assumed as 1. Just we are assuming for 8 to 10 hours service life of the gears, which is having a steady load on them. Okay, if you substitute the values, you will be getting the tangential load as 358 newtons. Okay, second is to calculate form factor, that is y is equals to pi into y1. Y1 represents the parameter with respect to pinion. Okay, y1 similarly in the form of spur gears we calculated with respect to 20 degree stub teeth. The formula is this, but as I told you in the previous slide, the design calculations, there is a small change where Z is replaced with ZE1, that is virtual number of teeth. 1 represents the pinion. Okay, we have calculated ZE1, just substitute the formula value, that is 57 teeth. Okay, you will be getting the form factor Y. Okay, so here we have to assume the two things. One is K, another one is wear factor. Okay, K in the spur gears we assumed it as 10. In helical gears we are assuming it as 15. Okay, little bit higher one. The same ratio, it will be K value B by Mn is equals to 15. Okay, the wear factor is 1.15. Okay, so this you will be considering from page number 241. So as I have taken from here, we are just taken it as it is gears are continuously lubricated with oil and proper viscosity. Okay, so we are just considering it as 1.15 as a wear factor. Just substitute the value of wear factor. Okay, all these values you need to substitute back in the module formula to find the module MA. Okay, 1.09 mm is the value which you are getting. If you check this value in this table, so here the next higher version is 1.25, correct? 1.09, the next value is 1.25, hence we are taking the standard value for Mn is 1.25. okay, next one. We have found the module Mn. Okay, so now we need to find the original teeth, okay, of the gears and pinion. Okay, So since module Mn is being standardized, so hence we are finding the teeths once again. Okay, so Z1 we know the formula, uh, which you'll be getting from previous 211 page number. Okay, 80 cos beta, you know, just Mn units as a substitute will be getting 46 teeth, and you know the velocity ratio, if you substitute 46 will be getting 184 teeth on the gear. Okay, since you have known the teeth on pinion and gear, simultaneously you need to find the virtual number of teeth both pinion and gear. Again same formula, just substitute back the calculated values here, you will be getting the Ze1 Ze2. Okay, we know the face width, that is k is equals to b by mn. We know the mn, just multiply it with 15, you will be getting the face width. Since now the design calculation begins. Okay, so we need to check whether the assumed values are within the limit or not. Okay, so first we have to check for face width. Okay, so you can see this data handbook here page. Yes, so here we need to check whether the face width which we got, it must be greater than the minimum face width that must be having on the gear. So you can see here the minimum face width. Okay, this is the equation. So 1.15 pi mn by sine beta. Just substitute the values of mn and sine beta. So this value must be, okay, so this value must be less than this value. It means the calculated value must be greater than the minimum value. So hence your design, I mean your calculated B, whatever you have been assumed and calculated, the module is safe. Okay, now again we have to check for design stress, that is static allowable strength. We need to check. So how to check for this? So from page number 214 we have this formula, that is tangential tooth lot formula, sigma d cv by mn by cw, where all the parameters are known, but since we have standardized the module, again we have been calculated the number of teeth on pinion and gear once again, hence we have to calculate it once again. Okay guys, now pi into, this is the formula where Z1 we have to take Ze1. Okay, that is virtual number of teeth on the pinion you have to consider. So this is the form factor you got. So if you substitute all the parameters in this equation, okay, which you have calculated before, here you will be getting sigma d1. This must be less than the given value. I repeat, the calculated value must be less than the permissible values. If it is less, then only whatever the values we assumed are satisfactory. Okay guys, if it is not less than 100 megapascal, we have to change the values whatever we assumed. Okay, it's very simple. Okay, guys, now face width we have been calculated. Next is to find the dynamic tooth load. So this is the formula, Buckingham formula, which you need to consider from page number 214. Okay, so below this formula itself you will be getting the value of K3. You can see the number of unknown values from here, because you know Ft, okay, you know value of V and you know value of beta. So the unknown values are K3 and C, correct? So K3 you know, he has given below this formula itself. We need to find the value of C, correct? So how to find the value of C, I will tell you. Now we know the velocity, okay, how much we have been calculated before. Okay, it is greater than 26 meters per second. If you check table number 237, so 12.14 page number 237, that is, this is the table. Okay, since the velocity is greater than 26, correct here, so the error function E you have to consider is 0.0127. so this is the error action between the gears. Okay, E. So from E, I repeat, from E you need to calculate the value of C. You can see here table number 12.12 above. So he has given 20-degree stub teeth. Okay, 20-degree stub teeth where both the materials are same. Hence we are taking it as steel combo. Okay, 20-degree. So here you can see at the top where the error is given. Can you see 0.0127 in this? No, because he has given 0.01 and the next value is 0.02. Correct? So hence we have to do some small mathematical calculations and cross multiplications to find the value of C for exact value of E. Okay. Since we got the E for 0.01 as 118, now we need to calculate for E 0.0127 what is the value of C. Just you do the cross multiplication, you will get the value of C. Okay, so this is the answer. Just substitute the value of V and substitute the value of C and B beta, so you will be getting dynamic tooth load. Okay guys, so very simple. Now next is to find the wear load. So this is the formula which we will be using from page number 214, that is wear load, where D1 is considered. So this is very much important step here. D1 must be considered. Why? Because wear always will be maximum on the pinion. Okay, irrespective of whether it is weaker part is gear or pinion. In this step, D1 must be taken as it is because he has given in the formula. Okay, you have to take it as it is. Okay. Next, D1 is equals to 80 mm. We know a ratio factor Q. He has given below this formula itself. D1 and D2 are known. Just calculate the ratio factor. Now, next is here we need we don't know what is BHN. That is Brinell hardness number has not been given for both the gears which are made up of steel. Okay, why we need this value? Because in this formula we are calculating the value of K. Okay, if he has not given the value of BHN, we assume Young's modulus. That is modulus of velocity is you are given by 2.1 into 10 raised to 5 megapascals. Okay, so since we are assuming both the metals of same, so E remains same for both. Okay, if you substitute the value of E, you will be getting. Okay, now to find K, this is the formula. Below this formula itself, you will be getting this formula. Okay, now this is sigma ES. Okay, and he has given sigma ES in the question, that is endurance strength. He has given sine alpha n. We don't know what is alpha n. Okay, it is a normal angle. Okay, it is a normal pressure angle between the two gears. Okay, alpha n is not known. Hence, we need to calculate tan alpha n based on this formula, that is tan alpha n is equals to tan alpha into cos beta. Okay, where alpha is 20, beta is 45. If you calculate alpha n will be 14.43. Substitute the value of alpha, and E1 and E2 will be getting K is equals to 0.6474. Okay, once you get these all the parameters, just substitute back here to find the wear load. So wear load is equals to 3149 newtons. Okay, so after calculating this, your wear load must be greater than the tooth load. I repeat, your wear load must be greater than the tooth load. Then only your material is safe against wear. So what happens if it is less than the dynamic tooth load? Then you need to change the Brinell hardness, and the value of K you need to change it to get. Okay, you need to change the value of K, and you need to again modify hardness numbers. Okay, so in this problem where your wear tooth load is greater than the dynamic tooth load, your material will be remain safe against wear. Okay, so this completes the problem. Similar problem we shall try in the next problem. Okay. I'll be explaining the important concepts for that. Okay, so this is the next problem. We shall see how to solve it. Power is 34 kilowatts. He has given pinion speed. He has given speed ratio. He has given number of teeth on the pinion. See Z1 he has given here. Helix angle and alpha pressure angle he has given. Where 20 degrees stub he has given as the involute profile. Okay. Both material made up of carbon steel whose allowable taken is 230 megapascal. So he has given the allowable static strength. Okay. Now pinion diameter is limited to 125 mm. That is D1 he has given. Now determine the axial thrust on the shaft and check gears for dynamic and wear loads. Okay. Now in this problem, the procedure remains same as that of the previous problem. Okay. Now since the materials is based on the same, okay, we need to consider pinion, and designs calculations we need to consider it further. Okay, we know the Z1 he has given So based on the velocity ratio, you can calculate the number of teeth on the gear. Okay. Simultaneously, you need to calculate the virtual number of teeth. Okay, with respect to ZD1 and ZD2. The same. Since see, diameter is known. Correct, guys? I repeat, the diameters are known. Hence, we are using this formula. Okay. Same method. Velocity you need to calculate. Again, velocity factor you need to calculate. The same tangential tooth load is been calculated. Okay. Now next is we need to assume CS. Okay. Tangential tooth load has been calculated. Again, the form factor. Okay. ZE1 must be taken, where the virtual number of teeth has to be considered, where Y is known. Okay. We are assuming again where K is equals to 15 and CW is 1.15. Okay. Substitute all the values, where you will be getting 2.19 as a module length, normal module. Again, if you check in the table, okay, the next higher version is 2.5. So hence we are taking normal module as 2.5. Okay. Next, similarly, you need to calculate B. Now we need to check for B and sigma D1. The same procedure will be used. Since here B is greater than Bm, the calculated value of B is safe. Again, we need to check for sigma D, which is less than the given value in the question, that is 230 megapascal. Okay. Next is dynamic tooth load. We need to calculate in the as out of the previous problem. So here the velocity is being known. Similarly, error function you need to take. Okay. Here from here 15 is the velocity. So what is the error? 0.0230. This is the error. Okay. Now for alpha 20 degree, so we need to again check back from here. Alpha 20 degree steel combination. Again you need to check the for 0.02 what is 237.3. For this, what is the value of C? Cross multiply, you will getting C value. Substitute here, you will be getting dynamic tooth load. Again you need to calculate the limiting wear load. The same procedures are being used, and since the Brinell hardness number, where epsilon and Young's modulus are being not given, but here the materials has been specified. Correct, guys? I repeat, here the materials are being specified. Okay. Hence, you need to consider the Brinell hardness number. We need to substitute back in the formula. If you check page number 238, that is 12.15 table number, where medium cast steel. Okay. Where medium cast steel. Okay. For a medium cast steel, the Brinell hardness number is 120. Correct, guys? Okay. Because we don't know endurance strength, so this is the formula to calculate endurance strength. In the previous formula, it has given the endurance strength. Okay, here you need to calculate endurance strength in this formula. Okay, this formula you are getting 208, where bracket BHN represents BH1 plus BH2 by 2. What is BH1? It is Brinell hardness number of pinion. It is Brinell hardness number of gear. Okay, so here is given as a cast steel. So you are again assume medium cast steel, where BHN is 120. Since both are made up of same material, you need to take an average of both. You will be getting BHN as 120, and you substitute back here. You will be getting endurance strength. Okay, and assume the value of E as this. And if you substitute value of all the values, the same procedure as we calculate for alpha L. Okay, if you substitute, you will be getting K, and if you substitute back in the limiting wear load, you will be getting FW. See, guys, as I told in the previous problem, your wear load is less than the dynamic tooth load. I repeat, your wear load is less than the dynamic tooth load. Hence, what happens? Your pinion will be subjected to rapid wear. Okay, your wear load must be very high compared to dynamic tooth load. Hence, what we have to do? We have to harden to higher BHN. Whatever we got the 120 as a BHN, so that is not okay. Hence, we have to increase. So to increase, what we have to do? So this is the condition where limiting load will be greater than the dynamic tooth load. So how to find the different BHN? See from this. This is the limiting wear load formula, where we need to find the value of K. I repeat. So this is the limiting formula, which is to be equated with respect to dynamic tooth load. Okay. Your limiting wear load formula must be equated to dynamic tooth load. We need to calculate the value of K, and that K you need to check from table. Okay, and that table is from 12.16. Okay, so there you need to check the value. So from there, if you check 12.16 page table, that is 239 page number. If you check for 20°, K is the last column, alpha is equals to 20 and K is 1.144. Okay, if you check the value, you will be having as 300. Correct, guys? The value will be having as 300. So that is the thing you need to take for BH1, BH2. Okay. So since both are same, you need to take 300 itself. Hence, we need to take BHN as 300. Then your material remains same. Okay. Next is asking to find axial thrust. This is the formula you'll be getting from page number 211. Okay. So if you substitute Ft and tan beta, you'll be getting this is the total amount of axial thrust which will be acting on the gas. Okay, guys. So this comes to the problem. Thank you, guys.